can give the arrow and the line is, one side I have an arrow and the other side I don't have an arrow. Or instead of arrow, I could also write in this manner. 0 dot dot star I have written this side and 1 dot dot 1 I have written on that side. So arrow requirement, that notation I have not used. Okay. Now the thing is, if I don't use that arrow notation, then can't I say whether it is 1 to 1 or 1 to many or many to many? Can't I say what is the value, what it is? Actually, I can say. How can I say? I will see the max value. Just see, customer is associated with maximum how many loans? Many loans, because the max value this side is how much? Star? Star means many. So customer can have many loans, whereas a loan at max is associated with how many customers? Loan is at max associated with one customer. So it is what? From customer side, from customer side, if I see, it is 1 to many. 1 to many. And from loan side, if I see, it is many to 1. Customer can have many loans and a loan is associated with only one customer. Okay, so 1 will be on which side? Customer side, and many will be on loan side. Clear? So either you use that notation, the arrow one, or this is a much better one where explicitly you are mentioning that how many associations are there, what is the mean value, what is the max value. Now, another point is, yesterday I said you, what is total participation? What is the meaning of total participation? What did I say? If I have a double arrow here, double line, not arrow, sorry. If I have a double line, like, let me check. Yesterday I had shown you, yeah, this one. Just see, customer, borrower, there is a single line. And here, borrower to loan, there are double lines. What is the meaning of double line? The meaning of double line is total participation. What is the meaning of total participation? Loan has to be associated with the customer. So it is total participation. There will be no loan which is not associated with the customer. All loans has to be associated with any customer. But from the other side, if I say customer borrower, there is a single line. That means it is partial participation. That means a customer can have loan or may not have loan. There may be some customers who do not have a loan. So it is partial participation. That means all the tuples present in the customer or all the entity present in the customer entity set may not be associated with the loan. Partial participation means all the customers, each individual customer, if I look into the tuples, they may be associated with the customer, loan, or may not be associated with the loan. So it is partial. Everybody did not participate in that association. Whereas from the loan side, it is total participation because each loan, that means each entity present in the loan entity set should be associated with the customer. Okay? A loan cannot hang like this without any customer who has taken the loan. So every loan should be associated with the customer. Is the total participation. Okay? From here, now that was one of the notation. You could have used this notation, or you can come here and you can say that customer to loan, here see, just see 0 dot dot star. 0 means what? Customer minimum 0 association. That means customer can have 0 loans or may not have a loan. So what I will say, what type of participation is it? It is a partial participation. And on the loan side, if you see, loan is minimum associated with one customer and max also one customer. So loan is always associated at least with one customer. So it is what type of participation? Total participation. I did not use the symbol double line, but the number here itself denotes what type of participation. Is it clear? Any doubt here?
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody have any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Understood. Understood. Cardinality limits. Okay. Now let us come to weak entity sets. What is a weak entity set? Any entity set which has a primary key is known as a which has a primary key is termed as a strong entity set. Let us take an example. Here they have taken the example of payment. Suppose I have taken a loan. I'm a customer. I have taken a loan and I have to pay the loan. The payment of loan, suppose I will pay via 10 installments. There will be 10 installments and I will pay the loan via 10 installments. Okay. Now, let the installments be payment number 1, payment number 2, payment number 3. So payment 1 is for a corresponding loan. Means I have taken a loan and that loan I'm paying back using payment 1. Means in payment 1, suppose I'm paying 10,000. Payment 2, second payment I'm paying another 10,000. This way I have 10 payments. I will make 10 payments and I will complete the loan amount, whatever is the amount. Okay. Now here they have taken 3 attributes. Payment is an entity set. Okay. What are the 3 attributes in the payment? The 3 attributes are payment number, payment date, and payment amount. So suppose payment number is 1, payment date is on 20th March 2019. I did payment 1, and what is the payment amount? A particular amount is there. So payment number is what? It is a sequential number starting from 1, like payment 1, payment 2, payment 3. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This way it is a sequential number. Okay. Now, this payment will be known as a weak entity set. Why it will be said as a weak entity set? Because the payment entity cannot stay independently. Because payment means what? Payment against something, payment against a loan. I have taken a loan, I have to pay. So payment or payment against something else. So payment cannot stay independent. It is only I have payment entity set and it is not dependent on anyone. It is not the case. Okay. Moreover, payment doesn't have a primary key of its own. Payment entity set, which depends on some other entity set for its existence, it only exists when the other entity set exists. For example, it only exists, payment only exists if I take a loan. Suppose if loan entity set exists, then only the payment entity set existence occurs. Moreover, payment entity set does not have a primary key of its own. I can never say that payment number is a primary key. Why I cannot say payment number is a primary key? Because payment number, if I have sequential numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 till 10, and another person also does some payment for against another loan, and the numbers that are there in the payments number are again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the third person who has taken the loan, third person also does pays in 10 installments or 10 payment numbers will be there. So how can I distinguish that which payment number, whose payment number? So it is always 1 to 10, again 1 to 10, again 1 to 10. So it is a duplicate value, isn't it? Until and unless I join with something. What is that? I'm coming. So what are the things I said? I said, what is a strong entity set? A strong entity set is one which can stay independently and which has a primary key of its own. A weak entity set is what? An entity set which doesn't exist until and unless another entity set is there on which it depends. Like here, payment is a weak entity set since payment cannot exist independently. Whose payment? But payment against what? So it payment we can, if I consider payment against loan, then I will say payment depends on the loan entity set. In other words, loan entity set, such an entity set on which the weak entity set is associated, is known as a owner entity set or identifying entity set. So loan will be your identifying entity set or owner entity set, and payment will be the weak entity set. Payment, if it is a weak entity set, will not have a primary key of its own. Payment number, which is a sequential number 1 2 3 4 this way, these numbers are same for every loan. So for loan 1 also I have 10 payments, for loan 2 also I have 10 payments. So this is becoming a duplicate column. So I cannot make it a primary key. So the weak entity set doesn't have a primary key of its own. It is associated always with another entity set which acts as its owner entity set or identifying entity set. Clear? Now, what I will do if I don't have a primary key, every table should have some primary key, isn't it? That is a good designing practice. I should not leave a table without a primary key. So what we will do is, we will take the primary key of the owner entity set. Okay. Suppose I'm considering the primary key loan number. Loan number is the primary key of the owner entity set. Who is the owner entity set? Loan is the owner entity set. Let me show you. So loan is the owner entity set. Payment is your weak entity set. Every weak entity set in the pictorial diagram, the ER diagram, you should mention with a double rectangle. And the association, the relationship should also be mentioned should be represented with a double diamond. Okay. Now here, loan number is the primary key of loan. And payment has three attributes: payment number, payment date, and payment amount. In the payment, since payment doesn't have a primary key, what I will do is I will take the loan number from here, the primary key of the owner entity set, I will take and attach it to the payment entity set. Once I attach it to the payment entity set, suppose I have loan number 1, loan number 2, but against loan number 1, there will be several payments, isn't it? So loan number 1, payment 1, loan number 1, payment 2, loan number 1, payment 3, loan number 1, payment 4. Again, loan number 2, payment 1, loan number 2, payment 2, loan number 2, payment 3, loan number 2, payment 4. Again, loan number 3, payment 1, loan number 3, payment 2, loan number 3, payment 3. This way, I will enter the values. If I enter the values in this way, then who will be the primary key of this payment table? Did you understand how did I enter the number values, the elements? What did I do? I have taken the primary key of the loan, that is the owner entity set, and I have attached it to the payment entity set. So in the payment entity set, now I have 4 attributes. I have it, they haven't shown it. Okay, so I have 4 attributes. What are the 4 attributes? Loan number, payment amount, payment date, and payment number. When I enter the values will be something like this. Loan number 1, suppose it is L1. L1, payment 1, money 1. L1, 2 means payment 2. L1, payment 3. Again, L2, payment 1, so 1. L2, 2. L2, 3. L3, 1. L3, 2. L3, 3. So this way I will fill up the values. So who will act as the primary key?
Ma'am, payment number.
এই দেখো পেমেন্ট নাম্বার কি করে প্রাইমারি কি হবে এতক্ষণ কি
ম্যাম
বললাম
লোন নাম্বার
দেখো লোন নাম্বার তো রিপিট হচ্ছে L1 1 L1 2 L1 3 কিছু বুঝতে পারছো না তোমরা ভাবো বলো payment number am I audible
Yes, ma'am.
yes ma'am
দাঁড়াও মোবাইল পড়ে গেছিল 1 minute Am I audible?
yes ma'am
Okay, wait. What I was saying, payment number, money key, payment number, money key. Payment number means installment number 1, money, prothom payment, first payment. I made the first payment. I have taken a loan. I made the first payment. So the number is 1. I made the second payment. Number is 2. On which date? On which amount? What is the amount? I made the third payment. So the payment number is 3, payment date and payment amount. Okay. If I do this, another person has taken a loan. That person will also have payment number 1. So 1, payment date, payment amount. Again, 2, payment date, payment number. So what is happening? Payment number is becoming duplicate. So I could not create it as a primary key. I cannot make it as the primary key.
Ma'am,
So
payment
payment-
amount.
না রে বাবা দাঁড়াও এবার ভালো করে শোনো তাহলে পেমেন্ট আমার না হলে আমাকে আবার ওয়ার্ড খুলে দেখাতে হবে না বুঝলে আমি ওয়ার্ডে দেখিয়ে দেবো আর লোন তাহলে পেমেন্ট ইজ an entity set which did not have a primary key of its own. Why it did not have a primary key of its own? Because just now we saw that 1 2 3 1 2 3 these are duplicate values. Are you getting? Otherwise I will show you in the Word document. Did you
Yes, ma'am.
understand that payment is a payment number is a duplicate column? Because loan 1 je diyeche, that person will also have 1 2 3 as payment 1 payment 2 payment 3 installments. The other person who has taken loan will also have 3 installments, payment 1 payment 2 payment 3. So 1 2 3 1 2 3 these are becoming duplicates. So payment number is not a primary key of the payment table. So payment is a weak entity set. It depends on some other entity set. Whose payment? But I can never write, I can never say that payment exists on its own. Payment has to be associated with some other entity. What is that entity? That entity is known as the owner entity. So payment against loan. Payment against loan. So loan is the strong entity set and loan has its own primary key. What is the primary key? Loan number or loan ID. So what I will do is I will take the primary key of the strong entity set or the owner entity set. So I will take loan number. Take means loan number and amount will be as it is there in the loan, but I will also attach loan number in the payments table. Now, when I attach loan number in the payment table, the primary key will be loan number, payment number combinedly. The primary key will be loan number, payment number combinedly. Why it will be combination primary key? Because the data will be like this. Loan 1, loan 1 is L1. L1, 1. L1, 2. L1, 3. What is this? Against L1, 3 payments. L2, 1. L2, 2. L2, 3. So L2, 1 is, L2 is loan 2, payment 1, payment 2, payment 3. So the combination is unique. L1, 1 is different from L2, 1, isn't it? The combination is unique. So I make payment number, loan number combinedly as the primary key of the weak entity set payments. Then what is this payment number? Payment number is a special attribute in the weak entity set, which is known as the discriminator. Okay, payment number. When I combine payment number with loan number, I get the primary key of the payment table. And what payment number will be called as? It won't be the primary key. It will be known as the discriminator of the weak entity set. It is allowing me to discriminate the different payments of different loans. When I show a discriminator attribute in the weak entity set, I use a dash line instead of a solid line. Loan number here in the loan table was a primary key, so I used a solid line, underlined, solid underline, and here I used a dash line in order to say it is a discriminator. And I use a double rectangle to show a weak entity set, and a weak entity set association with the strong entity set or with the owner entity set is shown using double diamond. Payment is shown with total participation. Can anybody tell me why it is shown with total participation line?
And there must be a single loan.
Each payment must be associated with a loan. I cannot write payment 1 and payment 1 is not associated with any loan. So it is hanging. No, it cannot happen, isn't it? Payment money, it should be done against a loan. So every payment present in the payment entity set should be associated with a loan. Whereas there may be some loan where against which no payment has been made. There may be some loans against which no payment has been yet made. So it is partial participation. Okay, or maybe the loan is not required to be paid back. So it is there are no payments against a particular loan. So it is partial participation from the loan side. Okay. Do you have any doubt here? Then I will proceed.
मैम लोन पेमेंट में डबल ये डायमंड पैटर्न क्या दिए हैं?
Whenever I use a weak entity set on one side of the relationship, I should use a double association. Okay, this is a pictorial representation in order to say that there is a weak entity set associated on one side. Okay, since it is a special type of relationship, isn't it? Here, one is weak entity set who depends on the owner entity set loan. So the relationship is showing that it is a special type of relationship in order to indicate that it has used a double diamond. Okay. Any other doubt? Or everything is a doubt? Specialization. How many minutes are left? 2 minutes. Let me end it and rejoin all of you. Okay. Now, there is another very simple concept of specialization and generalization. What is this concept saying? Suppose, let me talk about specialization. Suppose I have an entity set person. Okay, just sit here. Am I audible properly?
Yes, ma'am.
Suppose I have an entity set person. Person is an entity set. And person has three attributes: name, street, and city. Every person has a name, has a street address, and some city associated with the person. A person can be further classified as customer and employee. A person can be customer and a person can be employee. If I consider that person is a customer of a bank, and the person can also be an employee of the bank. Okay. Not only bank, it can be any other industry, any other organization. A person can be a customer of an organization, or the person can be an employee of an organization. Okay. So customer is a person, employee is also a person. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm doing some specialized, I'm recategorizing the person into different categories or different special entity sets. Now, customer will have all the features that a person has, or will have all the attributes that the person has. Similarly, employee will also have all the attributes that the person has. Okay, these are the common attributes. Other than these attributes, customer will have some special attributes of its own, which will not belong to the employee. Employee will also have some specific attributes, special attributes of its own, which is only specific to employees, not customer. So the common attributes are name, street, and city, whereas customer ID, for example, customer entities may be described further by attributes customer ID. So customer ID is a special attribute attached with the customer table, a customer entity set, whereas employee entities can have employee ID and salary as the special attributes that employee has. So when you design your tables from the year D, if you have such a specialization, then what you will do is you will make three tables. One of the table will be person, the topmost one. So topmost one is a person, and person will be a table. In that table, the attributes will be name, street, and city. Or you can give a person ID also. Then the other table will be customer table. What will be the attributes of customer table? The attributes of customer table will be customer ID and any other special attributes if the customer has, then that those attributes. Employee will be the third table, and employee will have what attributes? Employee will have those special attributes, employee ID and salary. But when I have such attributes, so customer had its own special attributes in the table, employee had its own special attributes in the table, and person has name, street, and city, the common attributes. The thing is how you will show the relationship between customer and person, employee and person. So what you have to do is you have to, here suppose name of the person is unique. Suppose name actually is always not unique. You can make you can take some other attributes here which will be unique, or you can make name as unique. Suppose the name is unique, whoever is the primary key of the person table, I will attach the primary key to the customer table. I will also attach that primary key to the employee table. So if name is the primary key of the person table, then I will attach name also in the customer table. So customer table will have two attributes. What are the two attributes? One is customer ID and another one is name, which was the primary key of the person table. And in the employee table, employee will have its own special attributes like employee ID, salary, date of join, other things. And name, the primary key of the person table will also be attached to the employee table. Now tell me, if I attach the primary key of person table to the customer table and also to the employee table, then the relationship among person and customer is established, and person and employee is also established. But who will be the primary key of the customer table? Customer ID. Who will be the primary key of the employee table? Employee ID. And what about the name? The primary key of person table, I have also attached it to the customer and also to the employee table. So what will they be? They will be today you all are not understanding, isn't it? What I'm saying? I'm not getting any answers. Actually, let me show you in the Word document. Are you there, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
You are not understanding.
Yes, ma'am.
isn't it? Not getting what I'm saying. No. Achha, I will show you in the Word document. Okay, don't worry. Specialization means what you understood. If I have a person has what? Name, street, city. Every person has name, street, city as the common attributes. But person can again be subdivided. If I see from the top-down approach, first is person, then I am breaking it into special type of persons. What are the special type of persons? It can be a person can be a customer, a person can be an employee. Like if I have Maruti cars as one of the entity set, I can divide Maruti cars into suppose Wagoner as one of the, or then Alto is another special type of Maruti cars. So this is known as specialization. So person is from the top I can see person, and then person can be broken into customer as one of the entity, employee as another entity. Okay, let me show you the diagram. It will become clear. Yes. But see here, person is an entity set. Person has three attributes: name, street, and city. Specialization or generalization, whatever I show you using this, when the association between these entity sets is shown using this triangle. Within the triangle, I will write is A. If I see from the top down approach, I see person is a employee, person is a customer. So I'm doing specialization, okay? Every person has these three attributes. Since employee is also a person, employee will also have name, street, city. Customer is also a person, so customer will also have name, street, city. But employee will have some special attributes which only will belong to the employee, not person as a whole. Customer will have some special attributes which will become special attributes to customer. And both of them together have common attributes, name, street, city. So what is the special attribute to employee? For employee, here they have written salary. You could have written some many attributes you could have attached here, employee ID and other details. Customer, you could have attached customer ID, salary, credit rating, these details, which will only belong to those attributes will only belong to customer. Similarly here, whatever attributes you attach to employee will only belong to employee. And both employee and customer will have the common attributes of person, because since employee is also a person and customer is also a person, so the common attributes are name, street, and city. Okay. When you design your table from here, from this year D, what you do, you create three tables. What are the three tables? One will be person table, another one will be employee table, and the third one will be customer table. Okay. in the person table, what attributes you will keep? In the person table, you will keep name, street, city. In the employee table, what attributes you will keep? Salary. See, actually, they haven't shown your employee ID. You should keep some ID sort of things, so which will act as a primary key. So suppose I have here salary and employee ID. In the customer table, you will keep credit rating, you will keep customer ID, which will be the primary key of customer table, and salary, rate of join, other attributes you can keep. Okay. Now I said, if you keep person as a table, employee as another table, and customer as the third table, they are individual tables, isn't it? But in the ERT, there is a relationship among them. So how you will denote, how you will represent that, yes, they are linked with each other. In order to show that link, what you have to do is, you have to take the, let me show you in what document. 1 minute. Suppose this is your person table. This is your person table, and you have some attributes. What are the attributes? Name is one of the attributes. You have street, you have city, and other details you have. Okay. Suppose name is, in my instance, I have created name as the primary key, but don't create name as primary key. Never create name as primary key. Name is always lowercase. Okay. So suppose in our instance, it was the scenario was that
Ma'am, we cannot see.
You have not shared the screen.
My screen is not visible.
I did not share this. Yes. So your name is the primary key. Let me make it yellow. And person is the one of the table. Okay. Another table will be what? Employee. Employee. I have employee ID as a special attribute, EMP ID. And salary, another salary. Suppose I have, what else? I have department. And I will create another table, which will be customer. Customer will have a customer ID. Customer ID and some other attributes are there. Let it be ratings and other things. Ratings, customer ratings, etc. So here, employee ID is the primary key of the employee table, and customer ID is the primary key of the customer table. Now the question is, if I actually employee in the diagram, person is a employee, person is a customer. I had shown you the diagram. Okay. Now since in the ERT you have mentioned that there is a specialization present in the ERT. What is the specialization? Every employee has the common attributes name, street, city of person. Every employee is a person. Customer is also a person. So customer also has the common attributes name, street, city. Every customer also has name, street, city. These are common to both employee and customer. And what are the special features? The special features are EMP ID, salary, department, which only belongs to employee, And customer ID ratings only belongs to customer. These are the special attributes. Other than these attributes, the three attributes belonging to person is also belonging to employee and customer. So this relationship, how you will show? If I only keep these three tables with these attributes, then I won't be able to show the relationship. In order to show the relationship, you have to attach the name column or the primary key column, not only name, it will be the primary key column of the person table in the employee table. So I will attach name here, and I will also attach instead of name, let me add another name. Let it be any person ID, PID. Okay. And I have street name. So suppose PID was the primary key. So what I will do, I will attach PID to the employee table, and I will also attach PID to the customer table. This creates the link, the relationship that exists among person, employee, and customer. Okay, person and employee, person and customer. Now, my question was, when this is the primary key, and I have attached the primary key here, then this PID will act as what?
Foreign key.
Foreign key.
Foreign key.
It will be the foreign key here. Again, here the PID will be the foreign key. So for this table, employee table, who is the master table and who is the child table?
Person is the master table.
is person.
Person is the master table. Employee is the child table.
Child
Again, for customer, customer is the child, and who is the master for customer? Parent for customer, parent table is person. This way we create a relationship among tables. Okay. Using foreign key relationship, we always the association between two entity sets is shown in the table. It is depicted using foreign key relationships. Okay, understood now.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
what is
Yes,
the
ma'am.
advantage
Yes,
what is the advantage if I add PID here? The advantage is wherever these two PID matches, I will take the street and name. And I'm not keeping these attributes in the table itself. Instead, I have these are common attributes belonging to these employee and customer. So I've made a separate table and kept them. Now, using this PID, the foreign key relationship, I can obviously get the street and name of every employee. Or here, suppose I have other attributes, street, name, city, postal codes, all those details, I can get it for every employee. So unnecessarily, I'm not keeping these common attributes in each and every table. Okay. See, this is not becoming clear because we haven't done the SQL part from here. Once I will show you the SQL, how we can retrieve the street name from here by using the joining of two tables, it will become more clear. Okay. So this is specialization. And what is generalization? Let me again stop this one. Why I cannot do multiple share? The option is there, but still it doesn't work. Now is it visible? The ERD?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what is this generalization? There was another concept called generalization. Generalization is only the inverse of specialization. Same concept if I look from the bottom-up approach. Specialization is top-down approach. Generalization is bottom-up approach. Just see. Officer, tailor, and secretary. Everybody is an employee. So employee can be of different categories. And suppose some are faculty, some are TA, some are accountants, librarian. So an employee of heritage can be of different categories. So if I say faculty is a employee, librarian is a employee, accounts officer is a employee, then technical assistant is a employee. So each and every category, subcategories is a ultimately employee. So I'm looking from the bottom up approach. Now employee has certain attributes. Those attributes are common for everybody. So if I have employee, common attribute is salary. So salary will belong to faculty, salary will belong to technical assistants, salary will also belong to this librarian. Okay, so everybody will have the common attribute salary. Other than that, we also these faculty, librarian, technical assistants, everybody will have certain special attributes. Maybe here, if you just look into the diagram, officer, employee is the officer, employee is the teller, employee is the secretary. So secretary has a special attribute called hours worked. Maybe it is not applicable for officers. Officers doesn't have that attribute, hours worked. So officer has another officer number, teller has station number, hours worked. But hours worked is also belonging to teller and secretary. They can have common attributes, but it is not common to everybody, all of them. So I'm not attaching it to the employee table. Hours worked is not common in all the sub tables I have. So I'm not attaching it to the main employee table. Okay. I will attach only those attributes to the main table which are common in every sub table that are generated from the employee table. Okay. Now, so this is generalization and specialization, both are same. Specialization, you are starting from the top and again breaking the tables into subtables. And generalization is you have your subtables and you are creating the generalized tables. So in this case also, how many tables you will create? One for employee, another for officer, another for teller, and secretary will be the fourth one. And primary key of employee table will be attached as a foreign key to the officer, foreign key to teller, and foreign key to the secretary table. Okay. That's it. There is an example. Another important thing I will tell you, wait. These are different notations again to form cardinality. No need to, only two notations are enough. Okay. Yes, this is the overall entity relationship diagram by joining all these. Just see. Customer, let me start with customer. Customer borrows loan. So how many entity sets we have? First of all, just check. We have branch as an entity set. This is a banking organization has asked for a ERD. Okay. Now, banking enterprise. So customer is a entity set. Branch is an entity set. Loan is an entity set. Payment is an entity set. Employee is an entity set. And account is another entity set. If I come to account is again is a relationship. That means it has been specialized into savings account and checking account. Account has how many attributes? Account has two attributes. What are the two attributes? Account number and balance. So account number and balance belongs to both savings account and checking account. Common feature. Other than that, savings account has a special attribute called interest rates, whereas checking account has overdraft amount. Okay. Account is related to customer. Account is related to customer. So customer, what is the relationship? The relationship is depositor. So customer deposits in the account. Customer deposits in the account. Customer has special some attributes. What are the attributes? Customer ID, customer name, customer street, and customer city. Customer is having a special attribute for customer ID, which is underlined. That means it is the primary key of customer. Customer is associated with account. Customer is also associated with loan. So customer, borrower of loan. Customer is borrower of loan. So loan is another entity set. What is loan here? Loan is having attributes loan number and loan amount. Loan number is the primary key. Loan is also associated with a branch because loan belongs to which branch, that has to be mentioned. So branch is another entity set. Branch number is the primary key of this branch entity set, which has also branch city and assets as the other two attributes. Payment is a weak entity set. Payment is, I have, see, separately I have told you about all these, but they are joined now. Payment is associated with loan and it is a weak entity set. Since it is a weak entity set is on one side, so I have a double diamond here. And payment, the discriminator is payment number, so I have to join. When I design the table, I have to join the loan number in the payment table. Achha, what else I have? I have customer, employee. Achha, customer banker. That means employee can also be the customer. Suppose I'm an employee of a bank, but I can also be customer of the bank, isn't it? So customer is an employee, can be an employee. So here employee has these attributes. One is multi-valued attributes. This is what type of attribute? Employment name. Can anybody tell me?
Ma'am, derived attributes.
From where it is having its value, employment length. What is the meaning of employment length? Employment length is how many days the person is working in the bank. So from where I
Ma'am,
will
start
get
date.
it?
Start date.
So from the start date, I will derive the value of employment length. Achha, dependent name can be multi-valued because there can be many persons dependent on the employee. Employee ID is the primary key. Okay. Now, what is this works for? This I did not tell you. I will tell you. Before that, is it clear what the ERD that has been shown here? So small, you will, when you design an ERD, you cannot imagine the full thing as a whole, first of all. So what you will do is, you will always think about small relationships like customer to loan or custom binary relationships. Okay, you will design the relationship and there will be two tables or two entity sets on the two sides. So once you do the small relationships between two tables, then you join them. This is the method of doing an ERD, because at a time you won't be able to think the full picture. So what I showed you from yesterday, I showed you small, like, see, I showed you this one today, this part today. I showed you customer and loan yesterday. So these things, and account also I showed you. No, account I showed you today. There is a relationship I showed you today. So these parts later on, they have joined it together. Okay. Entity set can be associated with more than one entity set. Like here, customer is associated with loan, customer is also associated with account. Customer is also associated with employee. Okay. Now, till this, do you have any doubt? Then I will come to the works for this one. I haven't explained yet. Is it clear? See, once I will give you some more problems, it will become day by day. You practice ERD and then it will become totally clear. Okay, don't worry, don't get don't get confused that you are unable to think so much. Once you practice, it will become more easy. Now, let me tell you about this employee. I haven't said you this. There is a concept called self-referential integrity constant. Let me show you that. Wait. What is the last step? Yesterday, I said you about foreign key, isn't it? How do I create a foreign key? How do I refer it to the parent table? Can anybody tell me? The syntax of creating a foreign key in the employee table, employee is the child table. In this child table, how do I mention that PID is a foreign key? The syntax, the SQL syntax, tell me.
Constraint, then name, then references, then the child table name and the attribute.
No, reference is the parent table name. Foreign key cannot refer a child table. For wherever I
Yeah,
have the
ma'am. The
foreign
parent table name. Sorry.
parent
Parent.
table name, within bracket, I mention the column name.
Column.
Yes. Now, I will show you another type of foreign key is also known as referential integrity constraint. Foreign key is also known as referential. Is it visible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
The Word document. Referential integrity constraint. So foreign key is known as referential integrity constraint. Now, we can also have self-referential integrity constraint. Self-referential integrity constraint. What is this? Till yesterday, what we know is foreign key means there will be a parent table, there will be a child table. One of the table and both the tables are different. One will act as the parent table and the another one will act as the child table. This is the thing we know, but it is not always. Sometimes in some scenarios, you will find that the child and parent is same table. Same table is acting as a parent table, same table is acting as a child table. For example, if I have an employee table, suppose I have an employee table and the columns are employee ID, salary, department, and MGR ID. What is this MGR ID? MGR ID is the manager ID. Every employee has a manager. Every employee has a manager, has name, salary, and other details. Okay. Now, suppose I have an employee, E1. Listen carefully. I have an employee, E1, the salary is 300, name is AB, and manager ID is null. I have another employee, E2. Let me make the name as Kim. E2 is another employee. E2 is another employee. The salary is 3,000. Name is AB. And the manager ID value is E1. I have a third name, employee. Name is PC. And the manager ID is E1. And I have a fourth row. Now see, if I give you this record, what is the meaning of this record? Just listen carefully. Employee table, these are the attributes. every employee has a manager. Maybe there is some employee who doesn't have a manager, who is all in all. Okay. So E1 is an employee who doesn't have a manager. He is all in all. Maybe it is his company. He is also working there, but it is his company. He doesn't have a manager. E2 is an employee. The manager of E2 is who? E1. E3 is another employee. The manager of E3 is also E1. And E4 is the fourth employee whose manager is E2. Okay. From here, can I say that every manager is also an employee? A manager is also an employee. It is not that somebody else from some other country has become the manager and has no link with the company. No, every manager is also an employee. If I am the manager of that person, I am also an employee of that company. Okay. So here, E1, E1, E2, these are what? These are actually the employee IDs, isn't it? These are actually the employee IDs. Can I write something like this? E4's manager is E9, E8. Can I write this?
Yes, ma'am.
I can write.
But he's not an employee. Is it necessary that the manager should be an employee?
Yes. Manager has to be an employee. Okay.
Then
Suppose
it's
this is
not.
you may say that, ma'am, there are some companies who have managers from other companies. It generally doesn't happen, isn't it? So, and suppose in your problem, I have said every manager is an employee of the company. Okay, it is such a you are creating the database for such a company where they have a policy that if the person is a manager, the person has to also be an employee. Okay. For such a company, you are creating the database. So what you will say? Can you insert a record E8 as a manager ID? No, I cannot do that because my constraint is every manager is an employee. So E8 is not existing in the employee ID. So how can E8 be present here? Okay. Similarly, can I delete E1 record from here? Can I delete this record? I cannot delete this record because E1 has been referenced. E1 has been mentioned somewhere else. So I cannot delete it until and unless I delete these two records. I cannot delete E1. So two restrictions I said. What are the two restrictions? One is insertion restriction. Another one is deletion restriction. Yesterday, when I was saying you about foreign key, what was the two restrictions? Can anybody tell me what were the two restrictions I said about foreign key? What I cannot insert, what I can.
Insertion and deletion. You just
Insertion and
said
deletion.
these
What I cannot insert? Okay, Nikki Priya, are you there? Nikki Priya, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
You had sent me about the e-magazine, isn't it? You want to participate?
Yes, ma'am.
I haven't added you yet, but do one thing. Actually, I have given the responsibility to Ritik Pradhani of third year. Ritik is a student. I have given him the responsibility. He will collect the names and phone number once more. You will give it to him. Okay, he will contact your CR and then he will. Whoever wants to participate will give your names and phone number in the to Ritik. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Now, what are you saying? Have you, everybody has joined? 45, okay. Is it visible? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, what I was saying, I was asking you, isn't it? So, what is the insertion restriction? What I cannot insert, what I cannot delete? Tell me.
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
we
one
cannot
can never,
insert.
Tell me.
ma'am, one can never insert a data which is not present in the parent table.
One cannot insert a data in which table?
Ma'am, in the child table which is not present in the parent table.
So, one cannot insert a record in the child table if it is not present in the parent table. Okay, very good. And what is the deletion?
Ma'am, one
We
can never
cannot
delete a record.
बोल.
One cannot delete a record from the
Child table which is present in the parent table.
now. One cannot delete a record from the parent table if it is present in the child table. And in the child table, if I have yesterday, where did I show you? If I have the record in the child table, then I cannot delete that particular corresponding value from the parent table. The deletion is applied on the deletion constraint is applied on the parent table. I cannot delete a record from the parent table if it is present in the child table. And insertion is I cannot insert a record in the child table if it is not present in the parent table. Very important point. Okay. Now come here. What I cannot insert here, I cannot insert a record E8. Why I cannot insert a record E8? Because E8 is not an employee. It is not present in the employee table. In the employee ID column, it is not present. So I cannot insert E8. I cannot delete King's information, E1's information. Why I cannot delete E1's information? Because E1 has been present, is the manager of some other records. So I cannot delete it. This type of reference, this is known as referential integrity, self-referential integrity, where manager ID is the foreign key, which is actually employee ID, and employee ID is the primary key. So manager ID is referencing employee ID. Manager ID, MGR ID is the foreign key. Always the foreign key references the primary key of the parent table. So MGR ID is referencing the EMP ID of which table? Employee table. And manager ID of which table? Manager ID of again same table, employee table. Manager ID of employee table is referencing to the employee ID of the employee table. How do I write this? How do I write? I write like this: create table employee attributes are EMP ID, number, varchar, comma. Salary names are there. Suppose I have, actually, let me write it. Salary number 10. Throughout the class, students comes in, goes out. Salary, then I have name, varchar, 13, and then I have MGR ID, MGR ID is again varchar. Since it is a foreign key, I said foreign keys data types and size should be same as the primary key to which it is referring. So here it is referring to EMP ID, and the data type is varchar. 12 is the size. So same thing I have to write here. So varchar 2, size is 12. And it is what? It is, I'm doing column level declaration. So I will write references. Which table? The same table, employee. Which column of employee? EMP ID. This is your making a self-referential integrity constant here. So in the diagram, did you all understand this one? All these should be present in your copy because SQL also I'm parallelly saying you, okay? So you will, in your assignments, all these are given to you. I will not repeat anymore. My plan is, just listen all of you, what the planning that I have made is, since you will solve the assignments, parallelly I'm also saying you about all these SQL queries. Later on, when you will have lab, we will not do the assignment since you are solving it at home and you are sending me. What we will do is, we will do a project. Okay, I will give you a project. You will, throughout this theory classes, you are knowing about all the SQL queries. Whatever is possible, whatever, if something is left, I will obviously do it in the lab hours. But my objective was to complete the SQL part so that when you will have lab, then at that time we could do a project. If we do a project, then it will be more nice. We will learn the subject nicely, a better way. So this was my plan. Otherwise, I would have left all these SQL queries and I could have done in the lab. It would be too late. That's why I'm teaching you here. So write all these things because later on again I will not repeat these things. Okay. So you all understood what I tried to say? Now let me go to the diagram again. One minute, let me save it. We come to the diagram. Employee works for no entity set is linked here, isn't it? On the right side of the works for, everybody can see the diagram. ERD.
Yes, ma'am.
On the right side of the work spot, we don't have any other entity set. Now you might think that why employee works for, again the arrow has come back to employee. That means it is a self-referential integrity constant. If you have an ERD like this, or somebody has given you this ERD, what you will understand is, you will understand that it is a self-referential integrity constraint manager. There will be a column called manager ID. And so every employee is a manager, I said. So same thing they have shown here, and these are the attributes present in the employee table. Okay. Employee ID, dependent name, employee length, start date, these are the attributes. Along with this, you also have to add another attribute called manager ID, because every employee means a manager. Here, why it is one? Because a manager can, an employee who is a manager, the manager manages many employees, but an employee is managed by only a single manager. An employee is managed by only a single manager, and a manager can manage multiple employees, and it can act as a manager for many employees. So this side I have many, and one have one. That's it. Okay. So this is it's assume it as if employee is one side, works for another. Employee table is again on the right side. Okay. So this was the table. Let me show you another ERD. We have time. So let me show you another ERD. It is hand-drawn. Wait. Let me show you. Why am I not getting it? Yes. See, this is. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So there are certain problems here. It was already brought. See, this is the ERD for HITK, okay, Heritage Institute of Technology. You know the problem. All of you know the problem. What is the problem? There are certain courses offered by some departments. Like, for example, if you consider IT department has BTech in IT, BTech in CSBS. IT department has BTech in IT, BTech in CSBS. CSC department has BTech in CSC, MTech in CSC. Or EC department, it would be a good example. EC department has BTech in EC, MTech in courses are BTech in EC, MTech in VLSI. They have MTech in VLSI. They also have MTech in Electronics and Communication. So these are the courses. Okay. And department is what? Electronics and Communication. Department is Electronics and Communication. And what are the courses offered by Electronics and Communication department? The courses are BTech in EC, MTech in EC, MTech in VLSI. Okay, these are the courses. And what else? HIT has some students. HIT has some subjects. Departments are there. Now, if I show, and it has some faculties. So if this is the scenario, and what I have shown here in the diagram, just let me tell you one by one. Here, I have shown all possible things that I have said you. It was not necessary. Just see. Total participation is also shown. The arrow representation is also shown. One to many, many to one cardinality. And depicting cardinality using 1.1, 0.. This is also shown. All possible options that can be shown in an ERD, I have shown it here for only your understanding purpose. it is not necessary to show all type. Either you use 1 dot dot 1, 0 dot dot star, only that notation. That is enough to understand whether it is 1 to many or many to 1, or what is total, is it total participation or no participation. It is clearly understood from this notation. If you don't use that 1 dot dot 1, that notation, then you show double line for total participation, single line for partial participation, and arrow for no arrow, and arrow lines for what? The cardinality. Understood what I said? Or you can, I have shown here all possible presentations. You can also do that. Understood what I said? What I tried to say. Now see, let us start with student. No, instead of student, let me start with course. Course and student both. Student is one of the entity set. Course is another entity set. Student has roll number, name, address, mobile number, date of birth, and email as the attributes. Roll number is primary key of student table. Okay. Course has 3 attributes. One is CID, course name, and trade. Now, what is CID? Is the primary key. It is just a sequential number, and course name and trade is what? Course name is suppose BTech, MTech, and trade is what? That BTech in VLSI, MTech in VLSI, or BTech in this, BTech in that, MTech in multimedia and software system. Trade says, like in EC example, I said trade is what? MTech is the course name, MTech in VLSI. So VLSI is the trade. Okay. Again, in IT, we can say BTech is the course name, and trade is BTech in CSBS. Okay, understood? Or BTech in IT. So trade is that individual values, whether VLSI or IT or CSBS. Student, if you see the cardinality, 1 dot dot 1 means minimum 1, maximum 1. So a student minimum should be associated with one course, either BTech or MTech or any other courses, whatever is there. So a student is associated with one course, and at max, how many courses a student can take? A student can take at max 1 course. Because if a student gets enrolled in BTech in VLSI, then the student cannot take MTech, isn't it? So at max also a student can participate in 1 course, and minimum 1 course should be associated with the student. Now, why it is total participation? 1:1 itself denotes it is total participation, but still I have shown it for more clarity. It is total participation because a student must enroll in a course. The person is a student only when the person gets enrolled in a course. Okay, so there will be no student present in HIT who is not enrolled in a course. Now, from this side, if you see, from course side, if you see, you will see course can have student or may not, or may have multiple students. 0 dot dot star means 0 dot dot star means minimum 0, maximum many. A course can have many students. Instead of star, you could also have given some values. Suppose, but here you won't be able to give values because BTech can have 16 students, whereas MTech can have 18 students. Okay, so it is better to give star. So a course can have many students, or there may be some courses where no students has enrolled. It might happen maybe CSBS for the course, but for in the first time, no student was there. Okay, so this is partial participation. Why partial? Because whenever you have 0 as minimum, that means it is partial participation. The course can have 0 students also. Here, any doubt in this 2 entity set, student and course? There or not? Sometimes I don't get any response and I feel very awkward. No response. You are not understanding, students? What happened? Are you there or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Not responding.
Yes.
Any doubt here? Ask me if you have a doubt here. Student to course, do you have any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Courses are offered by department. Now see, the BTech in VLSI, I said, sorry, not BTech, MTech in VLSI, we have BTech in EC, MTech in VLSI, we have MTech in EC. So these are the courses. These courses are offered by what? Are offered by departments. Like MTech in VLSI course is offered by which department? EC department. BTech in CSBS is offered by which department? Information Technology department. So here, when I see the cardinality of course and department, department has department ID, department name, department location. Maybe the department location can be ICT first floor, ICT second floor. So this way we can give the location. Department ID is the unique primary key, the primary key of department table. And what is the cardinality? Cardinality is very important when you design the ERD. Course, if you see from this side, minimum one, maximum one. What is the meaning? Course has to be offered by a department. A course cannot hang that no department is conducting that course. It cannot take this. BTech in PLS, MTech in PLSI means it has to be associated with the department. So course is associated with minimum one department and maximum one department. Yeah, at max only one department is associated with a course. And department, from the department side, a department will have at least one course and can have multiple courses. How multiple courses? Like EC has multiple courses. EC has MTech, EC has BTech. Again, MTech is divided into two types. So again, IT also has multiple courses. One is BTech in IT and BTech in CSBS. So department can be associated with multiple courses and department is associated with at least one course. Now, can you tell me, is this will it be partial participation or total participation?
Total.
Total participation.
It's wrong. Actually, there will be double line. Okay. Whenever it is one dot star means at least department will be at least associated with one course. Okay, so it is total participation. It will change for it won't be one line, it will be two lines. Here. Now let me come to students and paper subject. Paper subject means the subjects you have throughout the 4 years. You have how many subjects? Those subjects. So subject has a paper code, paper name, and the semester in which the subject is offered. Now here, student exam appeared in subject means if you have a subject, suppose if you have BDMS, then student appears for exams for that particular subject. Now, what is the cardinality here? An exam appeared as a relationship, still it has two attributes. Why? Can anybody tell me why exam appeared has two attributes? Because if you notice the cardinality, what is the cardinality of between student and paper subject? The cardinality is many to many. Why did I say many to many? If you see the max value, 0 dot dot star, and here also I have 0 dot dot star. That means a student can appear for exam on no subjects, means 0 subjects. Maybe in the first year, in the first sem, they have just entered the college. At that time, do the student appear for any exam? arrived to the college. So it is associated with, for examination purposes, it is associated with 0 paper subject. Okay. And at max, it can exam appear for how many subjects? Multiple subjects. So I have written star. And from paper subject, if you see, for a particular paper, suppose there is an elective subject. For that elective subject, no one has opted for that subject. Okay, and no one is giving exam for that subject. So no student is giving exam for that subject. So it is minimum 0 and maximum for a particular subject. Many students can appear for its exam. So it is a many-to-many relationship. Whenever it is a many-to-many relationship, yesterday I said how many tables I create? Whenever it is a many-to-many relationship, how many tables I create?
3.
3 tables. One is the student table, another one is the paper subject, and the third one is the exam appeared. Exam appeared will be the third table. And this third table will have these 2 attributes. Along with these 2 attributes, same session, marks obtained. What else I should add? Many-to-many. When the relationship also becomes a table, then what are the attributes? One is these 2 attributes, sensation and marks obtained. And what will be the other 2 attributes? Yesterday I said this very clearly. I showed you an example also.
Ma'am, primary key of the both the table, student and paper.
Very good. Who answered?
Shayok.
Shayok. Achha.
Shayok.
Shayok. Roll number, the primary key of student table and primary key of paper subject table will be attached here to the exam appeared table, and they will combinedly become the primary key of the exam appeared table. Okay, he will know primary key of the student table and primary key of the paper subject table will be combinedly acting as the primary key of the exam appeared table. Here. And when they act as the, so they will act as the primary key of this one. So it is understood. Now let me tell you about this faculty. So paper subject teaching, my faculty is teaching the papers, the subjects. So faculty there may be some faculty who is not teaching any subject. Maybe the faculty has joined very early and no subject has been allocated to the subject to the teacher for the time being. So it is 0 from this side, faculty side it is 0, and star means at max a faculty can teach many multiple subjects, so it is star. And from this side, if I see a subject, there is a subject where the subject is there, but for the time being, it is not taught by anybody. Maybe there was some problem, some visiting faculties will come, yet the faculty hasn't come, so the subject is not taught by anyone. And a subject can be taught by at max multiple teachers, like we share subjects, isn't it? So this is a scenario of heritage, but it is not necessary that you can always add 0 here. You may add 1 also. You may say that there is an institution where if the subject is there, immediately faculty should be there. It depends upon the problem, what is it in your hand. Faculty is employed in a department. So faculty has employee ID, date of join, salary. These are the attributes. And faculty is always associated with the department, isn't it? So it is total participation. Of faculty, total participation. But the department, one is to start. It হবে total participation. A department should have at least 1 faculty and max is many faculties. So this should be total participation. Okay, just change these 2. Here also it will be total participation, and department to faculty it will be total participation. Here, so this was roughly a diagram yearly I have made, but you can obviously change this one, and you can modify this one, and you can send me another one. I will give you the assignment so that you can modify, you are able to modify it. Let me show you one more thing very fast. I can add a weak entity set here. Can anybody tell me what weak entity set I can add here in this yearly? Is it visible? The weak one? Weak entity set one?
No, ma'am. One minute. Please. How is it visible? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Suppose I have another in that yearly itself. In that yearly, this was the yearly I was showing you. Now, in that yearly, I have added another entity set called same results. Can result exist without a student? Can result entity set, exam results, exist independently? Car result, kiska result? I require some students. Result kiska hoga? For an institute, engineering institute or any institute, result of students, isn't it? So it is always dependent on student. The owner attribute will be, sorry, not attribute, the owner entity set will be student. So same exam result is a weak entity set in this particular problem. And who is the discriminator? Semester number. So what I have to do? The roll number, which is primary key of the student table, should be attached to the same exam result in your table when you design the tables. And then roll number and semester number will act as the primary key of same exam result. Roll number and semester number will act as the primary key. But roll number 1, semester number 1, this is the percentage. Roll number 2, semester number 2, this is the percentage. So this way, this will act as the primary key. Those two combinedly will act as the primary key. And same result has an attribute, SGPA, CGPA. CGPA is a derived attribute because most probably CGPA can be calculated from SGPA. So it is a derived attribute. Okay. And what is the relationship I have shown here? I have shown same result, 1:1. 1:1 means what? Minimum 1 and maximum 1 means our result will belong to a student and a particular result will belong to a particular student only. A particular result cannot belong to multiple students at a time, isn't it? So it is 1:1 and student to same result. What is the cardinality? 0:* means 0 dot dot star. It means what? Minimum 0. A student has not got the result. Student has not given the exam. So the student did not get a result, did not do the form fill up. So no result, no exam has been given. So it is student may be not associated with the result, and a student can be associated with multiple results. Maybe the student has given backlog exam also, and the student has given regular exam also. The student may be associated with multiple results. Okay. So this was the overall yearly for the Heritage Institute of Technology problem. Now, what I will say you, I will give you two problems. Okay, one will be this heritage. You can obviously modify this yearly and you can design according to your own, if whatever you think that is more applicable, you can do it. Or I will also give you another problem so that it becomes more clear how to design yearlies. Okay. Once I give you, you'll practice it, you'll do it, and also practice it from other books, or to get from net also some examples of solving yearlies. You have to practice it. Okay. Let me stop the sharing. All of you give your attendance. Many students are joining very late. I think they are joining only to get the attendance. I'm allowing them because while I shared the screen, it is always not possible for me to remember who is hasn't joined, is joining for the first time, and who is maybe due to some network problem, he or she got disconnected and again trying to rejoin. So this discrimination while teaching, it is not possible for me to keep in mind. That's why I allow everybody. But please don't take the advantage of this, because if you take the advantage that ma'am is allowing everyone, anytime you can join the class, then the loser, ma'am won't be the loser. You will be the loser. Just keep this in mind, that don't think that ma'am is allowing, so ma'am is the loser, ma'am. Nothing will happen to ma'am. What will happen? I will just click it. I will allow you. But who will be the loser? If you only join for attendance, or if you join the class suddenly, wake up from your sleep and you find that let me join the class, then you are not getting, you will not understand the topic. So the problem you will face, not ma'am. So be careful while doing all these things. You should be careful that you are the loser. You are losing something. Clear? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Stay safely. Take care of yourself and your family members also. I'm ending the meeting now. Another, before ending, another important thing, this Ritika has sent me about the dates. 24th, you all want to submit the assignment on 24th. I have allowed you to submit it on 24th, but the thing is, whatever assignments I have given, you should. I will do one thing. I will modify the date of